Hi there, this is Electricity Lesson 3 and this one's electrical resistance, and the objectives are to explain what resistance is and then to use Ohm's Law to perform calculations. Remember, if you need some time to write any notes or anything or do any questions, just hit the pause button. So what is resistance? Resistance is the opposition that an electric device has to the flow of electric current. So all devices have some resistance. A resistor, in particular, is a device that has a particular resistance, and these are called fixed resistors. And there's a circuit symbol for a fixed resistor. There are other types of resistors, which you'll come across later on in the course. Right, so resistance equation, let's have a look. So the resistance equation is otherwise known as Ohm's Law, which is like this, and the equation is voltage is equal to current, electrical current, multiplied by resistance. Obviously, when we do our calculations, we're not going to write this out every time, so shorthand is V equals I times R, or V equals IR. Try and put a box around that, there we go. Right, the units. So the units are, well, V's voltage, that's measured in volts, which is just a V. I is current, measured in amps. And R is resistance, measured in ohms. Or use this symbol. That's a Greek letter, so it's ohms, but the Greek letter that is omega. Make sure you've got that written down. Let's do some practice questions. Alright, let's do this one. So if you want to pause, I'll take you through the answer now. Calculate the voltage across a resistance of 40 ohms when a current of 5 amps is flowing. So this one's really straightforward. So we just write Ohm's Law, V equals I times R. And then voltage is equal to the current is 5 amps multiplied by a resistance of 40 ohms. And 5 times 40 is 200 volts. Right, let's move on. So I've got this one. Calculate the resistance of a lamp if a voltage of 12 volts causes a current of 3 amps to flow through the lamp. Now, so it's V equals IR, so V equals I times R. If you're confident in rearranging to find resistance straight away, you know, you've got resistance times current, so you just divide by current. So if you can do that confidently and then just put the numbers in, that's completely fine. If not, we can just write Ohm's Law, V equals IR, and then put the numbers in. So you can do it either way. So 12 is equal to the current is 3 times R. And then obviously to make R the subject, get R in its own, we need to get rid of the times 3, so we divide by 3. So 12 divided by 3 gives us 4 ohms. Okay, one more. Let's have a look at this one then. Calculate the resistance of a heater if a voltage of 230 volts causes a current of 200 milliamps to flow through the heater. So V equals IR. And we need to be careful with this one because we've got 200 milliamps. Now remember, milli means divide by 1,000. So if we do 200 divided by 1,000, that gives us a current of 0.2 amps, which we can use in our equation. So V equals IR. So the voltage is 230 equals a current of 0.2 amps times the resistance R. So to get the resistance, we need to get rid of the times 0.2. So it's 230. And to move that over, we need to divide by 0.2, which equals the resistance. So the resistance is equal to 1,150 ohms. All right, let's do some more practice. If you want to complete this table, and then I'll take you through the answers. So the first one, resistance. So V equals IR, so that would be, I'll try and make some room. I'll do this one here. So number one would be V equals IR. So 20 equals 4 times R. So obviously we need to do 20 divided by 4 to get the resistance. And the resistance is 5 ohms. This next one would simply be, number 2, would be V equals IR. So that would be V equals the current. So we've got 50 milliamps. Remember, we've got to divide that by 1,000. So that would be 0.05 amps multiplied by 40 ohms. So 0.05 times 40 gives us 2 volts. Okay, the next one. Now this means kilovolts, so times 1,000, so that's 3,000 volts. So I'll put this one just below. So we've got V equals IR, so that's 3,000 volts, equals current multiplied by the resistance of 50 ohms. So obviously to get the current, we need to get rid of the times 50. So that would be 3,000, and the opposite of timesing by 50 is dividing by 50. And 3,000 divided by 50 gives us 60 amps, which is a really high current. Anyway, on to the next one. So be careful with the milliamps. So remember, divide by 1,000. So 500 divided by 1,000 gives us 0.5 amps. So we'll call that number 4. So again, V equals IR. So the voltage is 8 equals current of 0.5 times resistance R. So to get R on its own, make it the subject, we need to get rid of the times 0.5. So that's 8 divided by 0.5, which gives us 16 ohms. Next one. So number 5. So again, we've got 3 kilovolts, which is 3,000 volts. So voltage is current times resistance. So we've got voltage of 3,000 equals current I times resistance 150. So we need to get rid of the times 150. So 3,000 divided by 150 gives us 20 amps. And we have to be careful with this one. You might spot a quick way of doing it, but resistance is 30 kilo ohms, so that's 30,000 ohms. And the current is 4 milliamps, so we need to divide that 4 by 1,000. So this is 0.004 amps. And the resistance is 30,000 ohms. So for number 6, voltage is current times resistance. So voltage is 0.004 times 30,000. And that gives us 120 volts. Interestingly enough, because this is milliamps and kilo ohms and they're multiplied together, milli means divide by 1,000, kilo means times by 1,000. So we could just ignore them and do 4 times 30 to give us 120. Well done if you spotted that. Anyway, so that's Ohm's Law. Hopefully that's given you a brief understanding of the basics of resistance and Ohm's Law and how to use the equation. And thanks for watching.